Thank you so much, Dr. Radikop. Again, what an honor to be standing here talking the graduation of these wonderful and outstanding residents and fellows that I'm sure you're going to carry the flagship of UBC wherever you go. I was honored to be part of the training program in general surgery here, as Dr. Radikop mentioned, and somehow UBC teaches you leadership. There's a quote, if I have seen further, it's because I've stood on the shoulders of giants. And I can see actually many of these giants that helped me along the way when I was a resident. They're not much older than me, like James Bond. but they really helped me through my residency and guided me through my training. And I'm ever proud to be part of this program. Now, when I went back to Oman, I really spoke about this in my grand round, but if you didn't attend it, one thing that we really found, I really found back in Oman is that the top residents would always go into internal medicine for some reason, and they wouldn't come to surgery, mainly because the surgical environment was quite toxic. So my colleagues and I, who all came back from training from Canada, from different universities, we really worked hard to change the culture of surgery. And subsequently, we recruited all these brilliant Omani graduates. And I thought that UBC is the best residency training program in Canada, in my eyes. And that's why we needed to establish this connection and send brilliant Omanis to come and train in UBC. And here we are. And hope to continue this collaboration with UBC. Now, for the graduating residents and fellows, I had to say something philosophical today. So I thought, what should I speak about? And basically, I think every one of us has a story. And as a surgeon, you do have your own story. And you have to write your own story. So I looked up what makes a story. And then I found that it is actually part of our practice. The first part of the story is the exposition. The exposition is the introduction to a story, including the primary characters' names, settings, mood, and time. And that's basically your residency program. That is how you're introduced to surgery. And this is how you start your story. And it is a tough residency program in surgery. I always simulate it to a warship or a battleship. On the battleship, there's a lot of people who are working on the battleship, but we are the Navy SEALs. The Navy SEALs are the ones who are trained hardest, because there's a lot expected out of them. And that's what surgeons are. So the exposition is your training. And then next is an inciting incident. The inciting incident marks a crucial turning point. It's usually a moment at which the protagonist makes a decision and begins a journey. And today is actually your inciting incident, your graduation. So this is a big turning point in your life and in your career. After the inciting incident is the rising action. So the rising action basically is the story where all the events that lead to the eventual climax. So of course, you as young practicing staff or fellows, you're going to be full of adrenaline, you're going to be on your rising action part of the story. You will face a lot of challenges, of course. I don't need to tell you that, but the most important thing is to learn how to overcome these challenges and make it part of your story rather than succumb to them. And then the climax. The climax is the most exciting part of your career or your story. And it's basically the turning point of the plots or goals of the main character. The climax, I think that's where most of your staff are now. That is when you have done all your challenges, you've settled your career, you know where you're going, you know where you're settled, and that is when you start excelling. And I think at this point, that's when you start writing other people's story as well, or contributing to other people's story. After the climax, there's the falling action. So that is when you start, slowing down and, or choosing other parts of your, everybody knows is looking at what part of the story I am in. So the falling action is the one that, when you start, slowing down, maybe planning for retirement or planning a change of career, or trying to business, you're going into business, making money like Alex, making money. And then finally the resolution, or the denouement. I hope I pronounced it right. So that's the end of your story. And that story, that end, or that resolution, or the denouement, that could be a happy ending, or not a happy ending. The good thing about this is that you have the pen, and you are writing your own story. Nobody else is writing your story. So you can always, edit whatever part you think has gone wrong in the story, so that you keep going on forward. People do make mistakes, but it's very important to stop, edit, and then go back and write your own story. Now, what makes a happy resolution? First of all, as I said, if you contribute to other people's story, if your name comes up in other people's story, that makes your story even happier when it's done, when it's finished. The other thing, if you have the right co-protagonists, the other characters in your story, you have to choose them well, including your friends, your colleagues, your partners, and the people who will help you along the way. Then, you have to always take care of yourself. That's very, very important. And next is family. And by family, we always talk about husband, wife, kids. But I think the most important part of the family is your mother and father. That is very important to take care of them. And if they are still alive, just make sure that you really take care of them. And it really means a lot to see them happy and proud next to you, and we saw that in the graduation of the residents. So finally, my final word is that through my story, I've seen so many ups and downs. It wasn't all rosy and nice, but I think overall, my best advice to you is hold your pen, write your own story, and create your own success. Thank you very much.